Hey, welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to be making a new recipe with one of my new toys. This is the stack cooker, and as you can see there's multiple parts and they all stack together so that you can actually cook one meal one time in the microwave all together, and it makes life so much easier. So I've kind of pre-prepped a few things here, but we're going to go through each of the different steps and the layers for you to see how I'm going to prepare and cook my meal for tonight for dinner. So the first thing I'm going to do is on the bottom layer we have, and I've got out here the Impressions classic bowls, a number of the different sizes. There's a variety of sizes and I love these bowls. They're great. They have a great lid that goes with them that can work as a decorative piece to hold it if you're setting it out on the table, maybe for guests to come and like dips and things like that. Right now I'm just using the bowls. So I've got 2 cups of rice, and so I'm putting that in the bottom. I've got 4 cups of a liquid. So you can use just water, which is normally what people might use. I tend to use chicken broth, sodium-free chicken broth, so that it gives a little bit of maybe a titch more flavor, and also a titch more of the proteins that kind of go in with the chicken broth and everything. So it's a lovely way to do that. So I'm just going to stir that in. I'm also going to add just a little bit, because this is going to be a Mexican style dish. So you'll see as we gather all the ingredients how that's going to actually work. I've squeezed a little bit of lemon here, so I'm going to add just a touch of lemon to also add a little bit of some zest to it. And because of the type of dish it is, I'm also going to add a little bit of some hot sauce to that. So not a lot, just enough to give it a little bit more of the zing as well. For those in the family that like spicier, they can always add more when their dish comes to the table. But this is just enough to kind of give it some flavor. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking this layer, and this is the steamer layer. Okay, so in the steamer layer you'll see that there's different layers that you can put in different orders. I'm doing the steamer layer. This will hold the vegetables, and I want them to steam over the top of the rice as it's going through. It will help produce a steam. So I've got some peppers that I've already cut, and I'll put those in the bottom here. I didn't do those, I did those much larger cuts. They're only like an 1/8 pieces, so that maybe a little smaller than that, but I didn't use the chopper. Normally I might if I wanted it to be a much smaller, finer chop for something, but in this particular recipe I didn't want to do that. So I'm going to add about a cup of beans. And then I'm going to add some corn. I have more corn than I would normally add, so I'm just going to add part of that. And you can use frozen corn, which they always talk about in a lot of the recipes, but you can also use fresh corn. This is canned corn, because that's what I had available. But if during the summertime, I'd be using a lot more of the fresh and just cutting it right off the cob and adding it into the recipe. So again, I'm not going to season this. I like my vegetables just kind of the way they are, and then when I do the meat, that's where a lot more of the seasoning comes in. And then when I blend it together in my bowls and serve it up, that's where the flavors kind of blend in and mix. But you can choose to season this if you wish. And then over the top, I'm going to put this. Now this one here is for my chicken. So what I've got here, I've cut the chicken. I could have done just whole breasts, but I wanted this to be kind of served more of an easier style, and allowing people to use whatever portion that they want, small, large, or whatever. So I've pre-cut these up into small pieces, and what I've done here now is I tend to make my own blend of seasoning from scratch, and there are recipes. I haven't actually tried the one that Tupperware has, and I do plan on doing that at some point, but I still have my mix that I tend to make a large bulk container of, so I always have it on hand for as long as it lasts, and then we make up a new batch of it. So I'm just going to sprinkle for the 4 chicken breasts, and the way that this is cooking, I will probably give it at least 3 full tablespoons of the seasoning, and then I will stir it up. Maybe I'll do a little bit more because I know my one son likes his spicier. So I will do that, and then I will mix it up so it blends that around with all of the chicken before putting it in and letting it cook. Now, the glory of this is each one of these containers has a different thickness of plastic, which means that they do cook at a different speed, which is why it is capable of cooking everything all in one meal. So knowing as you're going through the different combinations and the different orders that you can put things will help you also know how to do it. There are some great recipes. Top of the Line has a Facebook page that also offers all sorts of stuff for stack cooking. I'll put the link a little bit later in down so people can find that and check out what other kind of recipes and kind of learn. So as I said, I've only recently gotten this. Thank you, Penny. And have been playing with it, but I wanted to share tonight because this again is an experimental meal, but I'm very excited about it because I'm kind of getting the hang of how this cooks. So I'm going to set this in, and then I'm going to return. This actually will only take, if it was whole chicken breast, I'd put it in for 25 minutes. Because it's all chopped up, I'm going to start at 18. I might go a little bit longer. And let it also sit for a couple of extra minutes. So I will be back in about 24 minutes and we'll see how it's doing. Okay, see you shortly.